if there's something that could be done there to pull into one of those characters, that would be fantastic. But getting, when we get to him, getting multi-bot right that's key.
Try to throw in the multiverse as an accessory.
Artilla was the name.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Two more questions popped up. Purple and Augie. Sorry, Purple, I don't know your name.
I was just curious if you were at all relieved when you heard that DC sub was like, is that sort of like a load off your shoulders? Lots of money.
You're saying, are you asking if we were relieved when we found out the DC subscription didn't go through?
What were your feelings about that?
Oh, we were upset. We love that line. I mean, I think we've taken that line pretty darn far, a lot farther than a lot of people ever thought it would. You got characters like Killer Moth that whoever thought you'd see a figure of that guy. But even as far as we got with that line, we know that there was still quite a ways we could go with that. There were some teams that we wanted to finish up. There were a lot of fan favorite characters and favorites of ours. Granny Goodness that we wanted to do, but everything will eventually come to an end. Unfortunately, that had to. Mattel's still working on a lot of other DC products, so even though DC Universe Classics as it stood, or I guess at the end it was DC Universe, had come to an end, it's not dead. It's not dead in the water.
Yeah, that line, is not at a complete dead end at this point. I think because also there's a lot of work that was done with figures that they showed at San Diego. So, Mattel's not going to want to waste those resources. So, it may be a quarterly release, something like that. I don't think it'll come
exclusives of some sort.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think it's going to come to a complete stop. It's just more as we've known it for the past couple of years.
Here's the thing: we're going to fight to get at least one of those Doomsdays out, if not both of them.
Woo!
We don't know if it'll happen, but we're definitely going to fight our hardest to at least do that.
Nobody's going to see the hair sculpt either. It's upsetting.
There's a lot of artwork that was shown for newer Masters Universe characters or concept characters that hadn't come out. I was wondering, when you guys went through the artwork, like the Horde Mummy or the Blob, did you guys have any favorites that you guys would love to do?
Horde Mummy is definitely a good one. That one that I don't remember what it's called, but the mammoth-looking guy is cool. There's a lot of good ones. Again, a lot of what it comes down to now is we've got this initiative to really to hammer out those vintage toy characters and make sure that the Princess of Power is attended to properly, so that we can play catch up with that line. New Adventures gets to a satisfactory point. The movie characters get out there. So I would love to do more concept figures. I think we all would. Like, we've all got favorites, but that's had some kind of blowback, with doing those characters. So I think they would be few and far in between at this point.
Do you have any personal favorites that you'd like to do?
Well, the two I just said. I think. Yeah. What about you guys?
I like the Horde Mummy too. I'm a big Horde fan. I love the Horde.
Like the
out of all the bad guys, the Horde's always been my favorite. So the Horde Mummy was that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the guys you'd stack up on top of each other.
Of course you do. No, I'm kidding. We all do.
We have about 5 minutes left for questions, because
Unless you guys want to keep doing questions too.
If
The
you
young lady in
Did you
front
get
here
your-
had a question, and you just completely ignored her.
I know. I saw. I was just saying.
She flew all the way from New Zealand to ask.
She did. Sorry.
Just seeing what amazing work you've been doing with the Ravens and how dark they are, which is something I really appreciate. Don't really want to swing it back to what could you possibly make with Masters, but Night Stalker, or now that we've got Jitsu, Strider as well, wouldn't it be like one kind of tool you could get both of them out?
In the last couple of years, when planning Masters of the Universe, Night Stalker, well, actually Stridor,
Yeah.
and and then eventually probably Night Stalker, has actually been on the list as possibilities. And as we kind of fleshed the list out, those kind of got pushed aside. Depending on how far we're able to go with Masters of the Universe, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, you're going to be able to use that tool for at least one more character, so they'll be able to get, you know, money out of their tooling budget. But as of right now, there are no plans for it.
Any particular play sets or vehicles that favorites you want to do promotion?
I mean, besides Snake Mountain,
Okay.
Fright Zone would be awesome. It's horde based, of course. And how you get Barrett?
Anything we'd be allowed
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
Snake Mountain, of course. I mean, that's. I would be very satisfied if we could get Snake Mountain on there to go with pretty well.
I'd love to do more vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, the back of the battle ram.
Yeah.
Or battle ram would be
So
awesome.
maybe the fighting foeman vehicles.
We did one of them.
Yeah.
See, we had another question over here, and then
I just wanted to know if there's going to be a Gothropolis penguin.
A lot of people have asked. You know what? Looking at it, a lot of people have asked, and there were a lot of requests when we were doing the Kickstarter to do a penguin variant. Penguins don't have feathers like those other birds.
I know, that's why it would be different.
But
so.
you know, it's not out of the question. We have had a lot of online retailers asking if they can do exclusives of the Ravens. So we're going to be talking with them in the next couple of weeks before we go into production on this stuff and see what kind of variants they want to do. As of right now, we're thinking about just paint variants, but depending on popularity, we may be doing some alternate heads for those people too. Who knows? Penguin might be a possibility. I'm not saying no, but I'm kind of saying no. No, I'm not. It's a possibility.
I'm
There were
curious-
enough requests for it. Why not?
I'm curious, would anybody, just show of hands, would anybody be interested in like a blank character, no paint, anything for customizing?
Yeah.
That
I'd
kind
be
of
up for
stuff?
that.
Yeah?
We had talked about the possibility of that. Releasing one just stark white or maybe stark black and multiple heads. So you just get it and do whatever you want to with it. Paint it up the way that you want and use whichever heads and make your heads interchangeable on it. We've discussed doing that.
That would
I
be right
can't
for
wait
me,
to see
huh?
customs.
Yeah.
You know.
we had a question.
I got a question of the Ravens. Who came up with making the Kickstarter collectible variants?
Oh, well, you know what?
Is
Fans,
it's
stand up.
good.
This gentleman right here was the guy that first One thing I'll start as is we had this, I don't know if you're aware of it now, we had this thing going on a few years back called Fantastic Exclusive. And what Fantastic Exclusive was, it allowed fans to come in and kind of be involved in the creative process of making a toy. It was a whole website dedicated to properties that we had that we would put online. We put the names of the properties and some various characters of the properties online. Fans could choose which property they liked best. They could choose which character from that property they wanted us to produce. Then they could choose things like different paint variants. They could choose things like articulation and scale. They could choose things like different weapon variations. And eventually, we would try to keep them as up-to-date as possible on the production of these figures. They would eventually have these figures in their hands, and they were involved in the actual creation of this figure. So they could have something that they actually helped us create from start to finish. And was one of the most vocal members on our message boards. I get, what do we call it? We call it passionate. One of the most passionate members on our message boards. And there was at one point where we were going to be doing the Ravens, and we said, we just opened it up to fans. What do you guys think as far as variants go? What would you like to see? And one of the most unusual wasn't really even a bird. It was Quetzalcoatl, the Mexican elder god. And was the first one to mention that. A few people came up with like some strange little images of it, and we thought it was a great idea. Strange variant, doesn't really fit completely into the whole Gothropolis theme, but it fit into it enough, we said, let's do it.
Along with that,
And it's
it would be
cool.
awesome to develop, I'm Mexican, so I love all the Aztec mythology and all that stuff. You know, you could develop a whole line of characters from mythology for that.
Absolutely.
Just throwing
From
it out
Mexican
there.
mythology,
Oh, yeah.
email us a list and with images.
Oh, okay, all right. Thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm sorry? 2,000 evil seed in the works? We're not allowed to say. We did discuss, we did discuss a lot of stuff with Mattel the other day, and nearly every available character that has not been done yet, either on